I walked into my daughter's workplace on a Tuesday afternoon and found her carrying dirty dishes through a packed dining room. Her mother-in-law stood near the kitchen entrance, arms crossed, watching like a prison guard. "Table 6 is waiting, Emma," she called out loud enough for everyone to hear. "If you can't keep up, maybe you should go back to whatever it was you did before marrying my son." The other servers looked away. My daughter's face turned red, but she just nodded and kept moving. That was the moment I knew. 3 weeks later, when the health inspector's report hit the news and the bank called in their loans, my daughter's mother-in-law finally understood what it meant to underestimate someone. This isn't a story about revenge. This is a story about what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. Before I tell you what I did, drop a comment. Where are you watching this from? What time is it right now? I want to know how far this story about a father's quiet war has traveled. The morning started normal enough. I was in my workshop in Mississauga, sanding down a cedar plank for a custom deck job. 64 years old, and I still preferred working with my hands to sitting idle. My phone rang. Emma. My daughter didn't usually call on Tuesday mornings. "Hey, sweetheart," I answered, brushing sawdust off my jeans. "Hi, Dad." Her voice sounded tight. "Are you busy today?" "Never too busy for you." "What's going on?" She hesitated. "Could you maybe stop by the restaurant around 2? I'm working lunch shift. I'd like to see you." Something in her tone made my chest tighten. "Everything okay with Marcus?" "Yeah, everything's fine. I just miss you, that's all." We'd always been close, Emma and I. After her mother died when she was 12, it had been just us for years. I could hear things in her voice that most people missed. This wasn't fine. "I'll be there at 2, I said. "Thanks, Dad. I love you." "Love you too, sweetheart." I hung up and stood there in my workshop, that old familiar weight settling in my gut. The same feeling I'd had the night before Emma's mother passed, when I knew something was wrong even though the doctor said everything was stable. My instincts had been right then. They were screaming now. Belmont's was an upscale restaurant in Yorkville, the kind of place where a steak cost more than I used to spend on groceries in a week. Emma's husband, Marcus, had grown up with money. His mother, Victoria Belmont, owned 3 restaurants across Toronto and lived in a Rosedale mansion that could house 6 families, comfortably. When Emma had married Marcus 2 years ago, I'd been happy for her. He seemed like a good man, even if his mother had made it clear at the wedding that she thought Emma wasn't quite good enough. "Well, at least she's pretty," Victoria had said, loud enough for me to hear. Marcus could have done worse. I'd bitten my tongue then. Should have known better. I parked my pickup truck on a side street, feeling out of place among the BMWs and Audis. Inside, Belmont's was all white tablecloths and soft jazz. A hostess in a crisp black dress greeted me with a professional smile. "Just one for lunch, sir?" "Actually, I'm here to see my daughter, Emma Walker. She's working today." The hostess's smile flickered. "Oh, Emma, yes, she's. Let me get someone for you." She disappeared into the kitchen. I stood in the entrance, watching the lunch crowd. Business people in expensive suits, ladies who lunch, a few tourists. Then I saw her. Emma emerged from the kitchen carrying a heavy tray loaded with dirty plates. She was wearing a plain black server's uniform, her hair pulled back in a tight bun. She looked exhausted. As I watched, she navigated between tables, shoulders slightly hunched in a way that made her look smaller than she was. Then I saw Victoria Belmont. Marcus's mother stood near the kitchen entrance like she owned the place, which, technically, she did. She was 58 but looked younger, with perfectly styled blonde hair and a designer suit that probably cost more than my truck. She was watching Emma with the kind of expression you'd give a disobedient dog. Emma delivered the dirty dishes to the kitchen and came back out. Victoria stepped directly into her path. "Table 6 is waiting, Emma." Her voice cut through the low hum of conversation. Several diners looked up. "If you can't keep up, maybe you should go back to whatever it was you did before marrying my son." I felt my hands clench into fists. Emma's face flushed red. "I'm sorry, Victoria. I'll get to them right away. It's Mrs. Belmont during work hours. We have standards here." "Yes, Mrs. Belmont." Emma hurried toward table 6. Victoria watched her go, then said something to another server, a young woman who laughed nervously. That's when Emma saw me standing by the entrance. Our eyes met. The look on her face broke something inside me. Shame, fear, and underneath it all, a plea. Please don't make a scene. I walked over slowly. Victoria noticed me approaching, and her expression shifted to polite annoyance. Can I help you? I'm Emma's father. Recognition flickered across her face, followed by barely concealed disdain. Oh, Mr. Walker. What a surprise. I came to see my daughter. She's working. Victoria glanced at her watch. She has another 3 hours on her shift. Perhaps you could come back another time. Emma appeared beside us, slightly out of breath. Dad, it's okay. I'm actually really busy right now. I can see that. I looked at Victoria. Funny, I thought Emma had a business degree. Marketing, wasn't it? She does, Victoria said smoothly. But Marcus and I thought it would be good for her to understand the family business from the ground up. Can't manage what you don't understand, can you? How long has she been doing this? Victoria raised an eyebrow. Doing what, exactly? Serving tables. 3 months now. She's learning quite a lot, aren't you, Emma? My daughter nodded, not meeting my eyes. It's fine, Dad. Really, but I saw her hands. They were trembling slightly as she gripped her order pad. I saw the dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. I saw the way she held herself, like she was trying to take up less space. Emma, can we talk outside for a minute? Dad, I really can't. She really can't, Victoria interrupted. We have a full dining room, and we're short-staffed as it is. Emma knew what she was signing up for when she married into this family. I looked at my daughter. She was 28 years old. I'd watched her graduate top of her class at Ryerson University. I'd watched her land a marketing position at a tech startup where she'd been thriving. And now she was here, being talked to like hired help by her own mother-in-law, while her hands shook. I understand, I said quietly. I'll let you get back to work, sweetheart. Relief and disappointment warred on Emma's face. Thanks for stopping by, Dad. I left. But I didn't go far. I sat in my truck for 10 minutes, hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to calm the rage building in my chest. Then I pulled out my phone and made a call. Raymond? It's Jack Walker. I need a favor. Raymond Chen and I had worked together for 30 years. He'd started as a building inspector with the city before moving into private consulting. If anyone could tell me about a building's secrets, it was Raymond. Jack, how have you been? I need you to look into a property for me. 3 properties, actually. Restaurants called Belmonts. I want to know everything. Building code compliance, health and safety records, permits, everything. Raymond went quiet for a moment. This official business or personal? Personal, very personal. Give me until tomorrow morning. That night, I drove to Emma's house in Etobicoke. It was a nice place, nothing extravagant by Belmont standards, but far nicer than anything I'd been able to give her growing up. Marcus answered the door in expensive loungewear, looking tired. Jack, this is unexpected. Is Emma home? She's sleeping. Long shift. He stepped aside. Come in. We sat in their living room. Tasteful furniture, probably chosen by Victoria. Photos on the mantel showed Emma and Marcus on their wedding day, both smiling. Marcus looked genuinely happy in those pictures. Now, he just looked worn down. How long has Emma been working at your mother's restaurant? I asked. Marcus rubbed his face. About 3 months. Why? Mom thought it would be good for her to learn the business. Emma wanted to contribute to the family. Emma had a job. A good one. She quit. Marcus wouldn't meet my eyes. Said she wanted to focus on family. Did she quit? Or did someone convince her to quit? He didn't answer. Marcus, I saw how your mother talked to her today. Like she was nothing. Mom's just strict. She built those restaurants from nothing. She has high standards. There's a difference between high standards and humiliation. Emma's fine. She's tougher than you think. I know exactly how tough my daughter is, I said quietly. Tough enough to put up with 3 months of being treated like garbage by her own family, because she loves you. Question is, are you tough enough to stand up for her? Marcus's jaw tightened. You don't understand the situation. Then explain it to me. The family business is complicated. Mom controls everything. The restaurants, the trust fund, all of it. If Emma and I want to build a future, we need to play by her rules, for now. For how long? I don't know. His voice cracked slightly. She says once Emma proves herself, she'll give us a real position in the company, management level. But it's been 3 months, and every time I ask, Mom says Emma needs more time. I stood up. You're letting your mother destroy your wife. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. But you're too comfortable to see it. I left before I said something worse. In my truck, I sat in their driveway and watched the lights in their house. One window on the second floor showed movement. Emma, probably unable to sleep. My phone buzzed. A text from her. "Thank you for not making it worse. I love you, Dad." I stared at that message for a long time. Not making it worse. As if the situation could be worse than watching your child be slowly crushed by people who were supposed to love her. I texted back, "I love you too. Trust me." The next morning, Raymond called at 7. "Jack, you're not going to believe what I found." I poured myself coffee and settled in. "Tell me." All 3 Belmont restaurants have serious code violations. Fire safety systems out of date, kitchen ventilation not up to standard, accessibility issues. The flagship location in Yorkville hasn't had a proper inspection in 4 years. How is that possible? Someone's been paying off inspectors or exploiting bureaucratic gaps. I did some digging. Victoria Belmont has connections with a couple of retired city officials. Nothing illegal on paper, but definitely questionable. What else? Financial records are interesting. The restaurants look profitable, but they're leveraged heavily. Victoria took out major loans 2 years ago to renovate the Yorkville location and open a 4th restaurant that never materialized. She owes the bank over $2 million. Payments are current, but barely. I felt that cold smile spreading across my face. The same one that had appeared when I realized how to handle the contractor who tried to cheat my crew out of wages back in 1998. "Can you document everything?" "Already did. Sending you the file now." "Jack, what are you planning?" "Just making sure everyone plays by the same rules." "Be careful. Victoria Belmont has lawyers. So does the city." I spent the next 2 days putting pieces together. I called Michael Torres, a friend who worked for the Toronto Star's investigative team. I called Sandra Okonkwo, who sat on the city council and had been pushing for stricter restaurant oversight. I called every contact I'd built up over 40 years in construction and real estate. By Friday, I had everything I needed. That evening, I drove to Victoria Belmont's mansion in Rosedale. The driveway alone was longer than most streets. I rang the doorbell and waited. A housekeeper answered. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Mrs. Belmont." "Tell her it's Jack Walker." The housekeeper looked uncertain but disappeared inside. A few minutes later, Victoria appeared, wearing silk loungewear that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage. "Mr. Walker, this is highly inappropriate. You can't just show up at my home. We need to talk about Emma." "Emma is my daughter-in-law. Our family matter doesn't concern you." "She's my daughter. That makes it my concern." Victoria sighed like I was a persistent mosquito. "Fine, 5 minutes." She led me to a sitting room filled with antiques and art. We didn't sit. "Emma needs to quit working at your restaurant," I said. "Excuse me?" "She needs to leave. Today. And you need to apologize for how you've treated her." Victoria laughed. Actually laughed. "Or what? You'll tell Marcus? He already knows. He understands this is for Emma's own good. Does he understand you're using his wife as free labor while you dangle promises of a management position you have no intention of giving her?" Her eyes narrowed. "My son's future with this family depends on Emma proving she can handle our standards. If she can't, perhaps they both need to reconsider their choices." "You mean if she can't accept being humiliated, you'll cut Marcus off financially?" "I mean that family businesses require sacrifice. Emma knew what she was marrying into. She married your son, not an indentured servitude contract." Victoria's expression hardened. "Mr. Walker, I don't know what you think you can accomplish here, but I suggest you leave. Now, before I call security." I pulled out my phone and showed her the screen. A PDF file titled Belmont Restaurants Code Violations. Comprehensive Report. What is this? Everything. Fire code violations at the Yorkville location. Expired permits at King West. Health and safety issues across all 3 restaurants. Plus financial records showing you're overextended and 1 bad quarter away from bankruptcy. The color drained from her face. "Where did you get this?" "I've been in construction for 40 years, Victoria. I know people, inspectors, journalists, city officials, people who care about public safety. This is extortion." "No. Extortion would be if I asked for money. I'm just asking you to let my daughter go. Give her and Marcus your blessing to build their own life. Stop treating her like she's beneath you. And if I refuse, then Monday morning, This file goes to the city's licensing department, the health inspector, and a very interested reporter at the Toronto Star. Your restaurants will be shut down within a week for emergency inspections. Given your financial situation, you won't recover. Victoria's hands were shaking now. You wouldn't. I absolutely would. But I'd rather not, because unlike you, I don't enjoy destroying people. I just want my daughter free from your control. She stared at me, fury and fear fighting for dominance. You have no idea what you're dealing with. I'm dealing with a woman who's so insecure about her own worth that she needs to crush a young woman half her age to feel powerful. I've seen it before. It's not impressive. Get out of my house. Monday morning, Victoria. You have until then to decide. Let Emma go with dignity, or lose everything you've built. I left her standing there in her expensive sitting room, surrounded by all the material wealth in the world, and none of the character that matters. Saturday morning, my phone rang. Marcus, what did you say to my mother? The truth. She's furious. She says you threatened her. I gave her a choice. Dad, he stopped himself. He'd started calling me that after the wedding. Jack, please don't do this. This will destroy everything. It'll destroy the lies you've been living. That's different. Emma and I need her support. Financially, professionally. Do you love my daughter? Silence. Marcus, do you love her? Of course I do. Then prove it. Stand up for her. Not Monday, not someday. Today. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. You're just scared, and I understand that. But fear isn't love, son. Eventually you have to choose. He hung up. Sunday evening, I took Emma to dinner. Just us, at a quiet restaurant in Scarborough, far from Yorkville and the Belmont Empire. You've been plotting something, she said over pasta. I can always tell. Is it that obvious? You get this look, like you're building something in your head, measuring angles. I smiled. Your mother used to say the same thing. Emma's expression softened. I miss her. Me too, sweetheart. Every day. We ate in comfortable silence for a while. Then Emma put down her fork. I'm going to quit, Dad. The restaurant, I mean. What changed your mind? You. Coming to see me, not making a scene but showing up anyway. It reminded me that I don't have to accept this. I've been telling myself it's temporary, that it'll get better, but... She looked down. Victoria told me yesterday that I need another 6 months of training before she'll consider me for management. It's never going to end. What does Marcus say? He says we should stick it out. That his mother will come around. Emma's voice cracked. But I can't do it anymore, Dad. I feel like I'm disappearing. I reached across the table and took her hand. Then quit. Tomorrow. Walk away. But Marcus will have to decide what matters more. His mother's approval or his wife's dignity. Tears filled her eyes. What if he chooses her? Then you'll know. And you'll rebuild. You're only 33 years old, Emma. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm scared, I know. But you're also stronger than you think. You survived losing your mother when you were 12. You put yourself through university working 2 jobs. You built a career. This is just another challenge. And this time, you're not alone. She squeezed my hand. What would I do without you? Let's hope you never have to find out. Monday morning, everything happened at once. At 9 a.m., Emma walked into Belmont's Yorkville location and handed Victoria her resignation letter. I wasn't there, but Emma told me later that Victoria had turned purple and threatened to have Marcus divorce her. Emma had simply walked out. At 9:30, the Toronto City Licensing Department received an anonymous tip about code violations at all 3 Belmont locations. By 10, inspectors were dispatched. At 11, the Toronto Star published an online article titled Luxury Restaurants Operating with Expired Safety Permits. Investigation underway. At noon, the bank that held Victoria's loans called for an emergency meeting. I spent the day at a construction site in North York, pretending to supervise while my phone blew up with messages. Marcus called 6 times. I didn't answer. Victoria called twice, screaming on the voicemail about lawsuits and revenge. I deleted them. Emma called once, around 2. Dad, what did you do? What needed to be done? The news is saying Victoria's restaurants might be shut down. Did you? I gave her a choice, Emma. She could have let you go quietly. She chose to threaten and intimidate instead. Marcus is devastated. Where is he now? With his mother. She's having a breakdown, apparently. Emma sounded tired. He hasn't called me. Give him time. What if he doesn't choose me? Then you'll know he was never yours to begin with. The inspections took 3 days. All 3 Belmont restaurants were temporarily closed for emergency code violations. Victoria hired expensive lawyers, but the evidence was overwhelming. She'd been cutting corners for years, and now it had caught up with her. The financial pressure was immediate. With no revenue and loan payments due, Victoria was forced to sell 2 of the 3 restaurants to cover debts. The Yorkville flagship remained, but under new management, after the bank insisted on oversight. Marcus finally called me on Thursday. Are you happy now? His voice was raw. My mother lost everything she built. 30 years of work, gone. She lost what she stole. Marcus. Those violations weren't fabricated. She was operating unsafe establishments and exploiting workers. I just made sure the rules applied to her like they apply to everyone else. You destroyed our family. Your mother destroyed her own family when she chose control over kindness. I just refused to let her destroy my daughter in the process. Emma won't even talk to me. Can you blame her? You stood by and watched your mother humiliate her for 3 months. You asked her to endure it for some vague future promise that was never coming. Where were you when she needed you? Silence on the line. Marcus, I actually like you. I think under all that fear and conditioning, you're a good man. But you have to decide who you want to be. Your mother's son, or Emma's husband. You can't be both anymore. He hung up without answering. 2 weeks later, Emma filed for divorce. She cried when she told me, sitting in my workshop while I sanded a piece of maple. I really thought he'd choose me, Dad. I'm sorry, sweetheart. He said he can't forgive what you did to his mother. That family is supposed to protect each other. She laughed bitterly. The irony. You deserve better. Do I? Maybe Victoria was right. Maybe I'm not good enough for. Stop. I put down my sandpaper and looked at her. Listen to me, Emma. Your worth has nothing to do with Victoria Belmont's opinion or Marcus's choices. You are brilliant, kind, and strong. The fact that they couldn't see that is their failure, not yours. She wiped her eyes. I quit my old job for him. I gave up my apartment. Now I'm starting over at 33. Starting over isn't the same as going backwards. You have experience now. You know what you won't tolerate. That's valuable. I just feel so stupid. Love isn't stupid. Trusting people isn't stupid. They betrayed that trust. That's on them. She stayed in my workshop that afternoon, watching me work, like she used to when she was little. Some silences are healing. 6 months later, Emma landed a senior marketing position at a tech company in Waterloo. Better pay than her old job, better title, better everything. She moved to an apartment near the office and started rebuilding her life. I helped her move on a Saturday in October, carrying boxes up 3 flights of stairs and feeling every one of my 64 years. You know, you could have hired movers, she teased. And miss quality time with my daughter? Never. As we unpacked books in her new living room, she showed me her phone. A text from Marcus. I made a mistake. Can we talk? What are you going to do? I asked. Nothing. I'm done being someone's second choice. She put her phone away. Besides, I met someone. Oh? His name is David Chen. He's a software engineer at the company. We've been getting coffee. She blushed. He's nice. Normal nice. Not pretending to be nice. I'd like to meet him. I'll let you run your intimidating father routine first, then introduce you. She smiled. He's actually excited to meet you. Says anyone who stood up to the Belmont family like that must be worth knowing. Smart man. As I drove home that evening, taking the 401 through the autumn sunset, I thought about Victoria Belmont. I'd heard she was working as a restaurant consultant now, helping other people's businesses since hers had failed. Marcus had moved to Vancouver, apparently trying to rebuild his life away from his mother's shadow. I didn't feel satisfaction. I didn't feel regret either. Just a quiet completion, like finishing a difficult construction project. You do what needs to be done, and then you move on. 3 years later, Emma married David in a small ceremony in Prince Edward County. I walked her down the aisle, this time to a man who looked at her like she hung the moon. During the reception, she pulled me aside. Thank you, Dad, for everything. You don't have to thank me for being your father. Not just for that. For showing me that protecting yourself isn't selfish. That standing up to powerful people is possible. That you don't have to accept cruelty just because it comes from family. She kissed my cheek. You gave me permission to value myself. You always had that permission, sweetheart. You just needed a reminder. As I watched her dance with her new husband, I thought about what I'd want other parents to understand. Sometimes protecting your children means stepping back and letting them make their own choices. But sometimes it means stepping in and fighting battles they're too close to see clearly. The key is knowing the difference. Victoria Belmont taught my daughter that love requires sacrifice and submission. I taught her that real love requires respect and equality. One of us was right. Emma chose her own path in the end. That's all any parent can hope for. My job wasn't to live her life for her or shield her from every difficulty. My job was to show her that when someone treats you as less than you are, you don't have to accept it. Not from in-laws, not from employers, not from anyone. If you're watching this and you see yourself in Emma's story, working a job that crushes your spirit because someone convinced you it's temporary, or staying in a relationship where you're constantly proving your worth to people who'll never find you sufficient, listen carefully. Your dignity isn't negotiable. It's not something you trade for approval or financial security or family peace. The moment you start accepting humiliation as the price of belonging, you've already lost yourself. And if you're a parent watching your child suffer in this way, trust your instincts. Society tells us to stay out of our adult children's business, to let them make their own mistakes. Sometimes that's right. But when you see someone systematically destroying your child's sense of self-worth, when you watch them shrink and dim and lose the light that made them who they are, you have a choice to make. You can respect boundaries and watch them break, or you can intervene with love and strategic action, understanding that sometimes protection looks like giving people the information they need to make better choices. I gave Victoria Belmont information. I gave Marcus information. I gave Emma information. What they did with it was up to them. But I made sure the playing field was level. I made sure my daughter understood she had options. That's not revenge. That's love. Where are you watching this from? Have you ever had to stand up to someone powerful to protect someone you love? Drop a comment below. Share this story if you believe dignity matters more than comfort. And remember this: the people who demand you prove your worth over and over are the ones who can't see it to begin with. Find the ones who recognize your value from the start. They're the only ones worth keeping. Subscribe if you believe family means building people up, not tearing them down. And if you're facing something similar, remember, you're not alone. Sometimes all it takes is one person refusing to accept the unacceptable to change everything.